Well, obviously excited about Friday. You know, from a preparation standpoint, focus a lot on us and also on all three teams that we could potentially play. So we'll obviously have a little bit more clarity here this afternoon. And then we head there tomorrow. So excited about a great opportunity, excited to be playing on Friday. And I know guys are really looking forward to it.
Forget who you play. How do you want to play that first game in terms of setting the tone?
Yeah, I mean, I think we didn't play well the last 6-7 minutes of Wisconsin. Played well in the first half, and even played well first couple minutes, and then we really did not play well offensively. Made some defensive mistakes as well. So get back to offensively playing good basketball because we were really trying to do it all ourselves. So get back to playing the way we played when we went on an 8-game winning streak. You know, we can't forget that. We got to remember why we were playing well.
You were named Big Ten Coach of the Year on Monday. Given everything that you've been through over the last year, what did that mean to you?
You know, I mean, it's always nice to be recognized for something. You know, I'm not going to play it off like it's not. You know, no offense to you guys, but when the coaches recognize you, that means something. You know, just because I'm the young guy in that in the conference and I've been that. You know, so I appreciate that. You know, but other than that, it's like anything else. You move on. So it's cool to kind of go from where we were, you know, to now. But you know, you got to get over that, and you got to move on, and you got to prepare for Friday.
Do accolades help in recruiting?
Yeah, I mean, it can't hurt, certainly. I mean, I think when you've got, you know, local recruits that are important, you know, it's a little bit better than the alternative that was last year. They were wanting me fired. So, you know, we got to ride that momentum the best we can. So that can't hurt, especially for me because I'm young, so I haven't had a whole lot to really talk about, you know, just because I hadn't been doing it a long time. And so every little thing that you can do personally that can build your brand can certainly help in recruiting.
How validating is it? Sorry, how validating is it to see, you know, some of your guys getting accolades, though? Does that feel pretty good, too?
Yeah, it feels, I'm happy for them because that means something to them, which it should, you know, and for, you know, a guy like Nate Mason who stuck it out and believed in us and continued to keep faith that we would turn, for him to get first team all-conference is great. And, you know, for a guy like Murph who really turned it on to get recognized, and Reggie and Amir, I always, you know, it's kind of that old expression, you know, do you win when you have pros, or do pros help you win? Well, I think it's kind of the same way. You know, when you got good players, that normally means you're going to win, and those guys will get recognized.
When you're going into tournaments, sometimes kids get a little nervous, but considering what your guys have gone through this year, has that given them kind of maturity in a way, or is it still going to be a little different?
I'm sure it'll be a little bit different. We've been really composed this year, except for probably the end of that Wisconsin game. But for a young team, they haven't really seemed really frazzled, which is nice. But it's a whole new ball game with single elimination tournaments, you know. So we don't have a lot of guys who've been here before. You know, last year we had no chance of winning a game. We had like 4 players, you know. So we got to get our guys to settle in. I'm sure there'll be emotions, you know, but more than anything, it's just executing and getting them to understand that's all that matters. And I think our guys have been pretty good so far.
Other than Lynch's ability to block shots, what else has helped you improve so much defensively?
Length on the perimeter. You know, Amir is, I don't know, 6'7", 6'8", and he can get to shooters. And then your 2 is Akeem, who's actually got good length, got long arms, and Dupree's got long arms. So, and then Murphy and Curry, it's a lot to do with length. I think that's had a lot to do with it. And I do think they're committed to defense. For a young team, they're really good with the scouting report. They care about it. They ask questions, which is kind of rare with young guys.
It's the Big Ten tournament. When you kind of have a cushion here because you're going to go to the NCAA tournament, is that different in how you approach it, or how do you sell it to your team?
It's a lot more fun. My first 2 years, you know, we were on the bubble. I thought our second year, if we had won maybe 2, we could have been on the bubble there. And I think we won 1. But it's a lot less pressure, you know, so that's been fun. Over the last couple of weeks, it's been like every time everybody wanted to kind of say we were on the bubble, we had a big win. We beat Iowa, we beat Maryland on the road, so these guys have dealt with that part of it pretty well. But again, these guys want to win a title like everybody else does. And, whoever it is that we play, we know it's going to be extremely difficult.
What are your thoughts on the tournament being out in D.C., just instead of Chicago or Indianapolis, or you kind of moving it out there?
I would prefer for it to be in Indianapolis or Chicago because it's a shorter trip. That's kind of my whole thought process. But I get why they're doing it. I think D.C. is an awesome city, so we'll see how it works. I don't think they want to do it a lot. I think next year is more different because you're going to New York, but you're playing a week early, and that'll be unique. That'll be something that's more of a change. But you can go to your nation's capital. It'll be a special, experience for whoever does make the trip.
There's a theory that sometimes making a deep run in your conference tournament can be a bad thing because you wear yourself out before NCAAs. Does the fact that you guys have a double bye-in, can only really even play 3 games, does that sort of mitigate any concern about that?
I'm not worried about that. We're going to go try to win a championship, and that's something I don't think we've ever done it here before, and it's tough. So I kind of worry about what's in front of us right now and worry about Friday and see where we go from there.
Was the last game a good example of how important Murphy is, that when he is limited in minutes, it becomes tougher to do so many things?
Yes. Yeah, I think from an offensive standpoint, he's just kind of gotten some garbage points that we need, and we just couldn't get them. So he needs to be on the court. He can't play that limited of minutes, so it's important for him to stay in foul trouble. He hasn't really been in foul trouble much this year, so he'll have to learn from it. But we do need him on the court. With the way he's playing right now, we need him on the court.
When you say garbage points, does that go back to the mentality that you talked to him about the junkyard dog? I think was the last thing you said about him with the rebounds. Is that basically his game? Junkyard dog, garbage points, that sort of thing?
Yeah, it is. And I mean, he makes it a little bit easier on everybody at times, whether or not it's an offensive rebound dunk, where you don't have to generate every single basket. You got to get a couple of easy ones. And Murph's been able to do that in this last 3 weeks.
What do you think it was like for him to come in after such high expectations for having a pretty good freshman season? Struggled a little bit at the beginning, but to go on this run, do you think the expectations played into it at all?
I don't think so. Maybe a little bit for him. I think I told him, I said it's not how you start, it's how you finish, and he's finishing the right way. I mean, it was a different team. It was a whole new team, so his role was going to change a little bit, and he had to understand that he was at the top of everybody's scouting report. People were game planning against him, and he had to adjust, and it took a little bit of time, but he adjusted in a big way.
When I asked you about defensive improvement earlier in the season, you joked that you didn't go to some special class and learn. But did you change anything or emphasize anything differently this year?
No, not really. We played less zone. That maybe be the only X's and O's switch that we did. But it does help to have Reggie back there. And because he makes up for mistakes. Shot blockers do that. But philosophically didn't change a whole lot. We've always been pretty committed to it. We don't press as much, and that's because I don't think we have a lot of depth in our backcourt as much. So maybe just change from pressing and zone to all. We've been a lot of half-court man.
With Amir, what allowed him to transition to college basketball so well, so quickly?
A lot of it's on him, to be honest. He's a tough kid. He's a gamer. He has a way of just making big shots, and he's been durable. He's playing 36 minutes a game as a freshman. He has not had too many games where I've said, "Oh, you're acting like a freshman." One or two out of a lot of them. So it's just it's been him. And he's going to continue to get better. But he's been reliable. And normally freshmen are not reliable, and we've got a reliable group with that.
Did you anticipate that with him and recruiting him? Did he kind of strike you as a guy that would be like that, or is this kind of a pleasant surprise in a way?
I thought we were getting a great player, but I thought the beauty of having Devontae was I thought Amir could grow slowly because you never want to throw a freshman out in the fire like that, even the most talented ones, just because it's such an old league. And, it's been good for Nate Mason, learned under an Andre Hollins. Eric Curry's learning under, Murph. But It's just because he got hurt, we had to do that. And maybe it helped him a little bit because he's had to learn on the court, much like Dupree and Murph did last year.
What do you say is the reason why Nate and Jordan are so consistent? You know, sometimes you can ask for a guy to have a big game, but they both consistently come through. But what have you seen?
I think last year really helped them basketball-wise because, you know, as bad as our record was last year, we were getting close in the Big Ten. We had a lot of single-digit losses, and I think they were on the court for those, and I think they learned from it. And as difficult as it was good for them. And when we went through that 5-game losing streak, they stepped up and took ownership of their play. They didn't point fingers. They said, we've got to do better. And I don't know if they would have gotten that without maturing on the court last year. I think that really helped them.
Hey, Richard, a couple of times this season when you've had a little extra time to prepare or let the guys refocus on themselves, it's worked out well for you. I mean, does that make getting this double bye really important for you guys here?
Well, especially after the way we played in that second half. We need to get our offensive continuity and our confidence back. You know, we got to get rest, too. You know, we had a really tough practice yesterday, kind of a preseason type practice where they were not happy about, you know, just to get them a little bit tougher, break them through a little bit more, condition them, and then really scale back today and tomorrow. Because once you get out to D.C., it's really hard to get productive practices in. You know, so we definitely got to get that offensive flow back. And we had that, I think, after Penn State, where we had a little time off, and it really helped. So hopefully this will help us as well.
A couple more for Coach.
With Dupree and Akeem right now, are you going into each game with a plan for their minutes, or are you just feeling it out, kind of who's stepping up?
Feeling it out.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't. It's not. I'd like to say there's a plan, but that's more feeling it out. And you know, Dupree's been very good. We got to get Akeem back playing the way he's capable of playing, because when he's doing that, you know, we're pretty tough to guard.
Is the back still bothering him at all?
I don't think so.
You've said you guys respond when there's talk that they're on the bubble, and then you also see them play well when they're having fun. From the coach's point of view, which do you like better? Which do you think that they're with a more solid basketball team coming off of?
I think that when they're a confident group, you know, there's always that the question of would you rather play a team after a win or a loss. I like our team where we're confident. You know, we seem to be better that way, and maybe it's because we're young. I think young people tend to lose confidence. You know, so obviously I've got to get them back understanding that we went a month without losing in the Big Ten. You know, so as much as I didn't like the way we played in that second half, and it would have been great to be second in the conference, we got to take a deep breath and realize all the great things that we did, and get excited about the position that we put ourselves in.
Last one for Coach.